Okay, everybody, welcome to our April 2023 show of Co-Creating the New Earth with the Subtle Realms and the She. I am Marguerite Rigoglioso, and I am the director of Seven Sisters Mystery School. I am so excited today to have my dear sister, IndigoAngel, who is an amazing oracle. I consider her one of the premier oracles on the planet right now. She is getting a lot of information about our galactic origins, what's going on Earth, in the Earth. And she is, she's really, really getting high level information that every time I tune in, I get very deeply activated. So we're gonna talk about some of what she knows today. And before we do that, let me just mention that we always welcome visits to the Seven Sisters Mystery School website. There is lots of free material there. We just completed the live version of our 7 Mysteries of Magdalene course, and that is now available completely online on demand. And for those of you who have ceremonial cacao on hand, this Sunday, we are having an online cacao ceremony, March 26th. And you can register for that and join us at this link here, the 7 Mysteries of Magdalene. You can scroll into that. We would love to see you. Our YouTube channel is growing. We love having you subscribe and also to like and share this video if you find value in it. We always appreciate super chats, which are donations, and you can donate by clicking the currency button under your window. So please do that if you are feeling so moved. All right. So we're going to move into IndigoAngel. Again, a very high level starseed. I am so excited to have her. Whenever she and I get together or start talking, we could literally talk for hours. We've determined that we have lots of past lives together in various parts of the world, be it Ireland, be it North Africa, be it Egypt, be it, wherever.
Italy.
So Italy, major, big time. Thank you so much. And our jumping off point to this very interesting galactic conversation is her new journey venture. Two things. One is her Starseed Activator oils that she's created. And this is not just, some new age sales ploy thing. This is really deeply esoteric information, okay? And we're going to launch into because she is a visionary, a vision keeper, a vision holder, and a vision creator for us co-creating the new earth. So this is really, really apt for this show. And she has really been receiving the connections between scent and the stars, as well as crystals. So she's got mixes of scents with crystals in this, and then each one is attuned to a particular vibration of star realm. So we've got Pleiadian, we've got Andromedan, Arcturian, Lyran, Sirian, and yes, Orion. Okay. She's going to talk about that, how that came about. And what I can say to help ground this into my own work is that a while ago, before I even knew that Indy was doing this, I started receiving, and this is going to be part of my next book on Mother Mary, which excitedly just got the contract for with Inner Traditions, a book about Mother Mary's true life. And so what I started receiving is that all of the senses are basically portals to other dimensional knowledge. And so scent is a big one. As we know, as human beings, scent is the quickest way to access a memory in this lifetime. So by extension, it's the quickest way to access a memory of a star system, of our other lives, right? And so we're going to have Indigo go into that. Also, interestingly, I had just been listening to Elena Danaan, another oracle, who was being interviewed by Michael Sala. Some of you might be familiar with his show. And her guides were saying that they have a flower on one of their planets that has a very strong vanilla scent. So vanilla scents on the earth remind them of their flower. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting that all this is this cross-referencing? Because when we think of the stars, we think of like, ooh, some kind of like interdimensional, non 3D related, type of thing. But that's not what it is. We are connected. We are inviting comments and questions also on the chat stream because we're going to offer them to Indigo. So Indigo, hello.
Hi, thank you for that lovely introduction and congratulations on everything that you have going on as well. I'm excited to be here and dive into the Starseed shenanigans. It's an exciting time, isn't it? So much is going on Earth and so much is evolving, and we're definitely awakening the planetary ascension evolutionary cycles. And it's really just an amazing time because a lot of new wave of activations, I think, are coming in for new starseeds as well. So it's a good time to really dive into these topics. As what I've been seeing is starseed consciousness alone is really one of the processes in Ascension in its totality that's helping us develop the spiritual tools to actually really help the earth ascend. And get us into grid worker qualities, which is what I just came out of in terms of the teachings I was just most recently talking about, and what I mostly talk about on my channel. So it's definitely a fundamental part of the process in understanding the holographic nature of our Earth and the spiritual principles and qualities in which we exist from the original manifestation template inside the planet, the race morphogenetic field. And where all information is held, which is the planetary holorecords. And all of that is really decoded by radial signatures, by celestial energy, by light, essentially. So there's a lot of diversification within that and how we classify that and how we come to interpret it and understand it on a quantum level within our own consciousness. So the Starseed activators are meant to be that. They're meant to be attunement tools to help people to identify to those radial signatures and also help starseeds to remember who they are, where they're from, what they're doing here, why they're here, what their mission is on this earth, which is something that's very, very important to the individual who's going through what I like to call starseed consciousness, which is celestial ascension. I feel like it puts a little flair on it. It's my favorite term, celestial ascension, which is advanced ascension, right? It's going to the next levels of mastery. It's going super quantum.
Yeah.
And so
exciting, by the way. I mean, we just got a little super sticker from FMRX. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yeah. This is serious business, and whenever you start talking, I'm listening to your videos. I'm like a junkie, I'm a fan. And I'm like, if we all just turned our attention to the histories you are talking about, it would be a whole other level and years of education that we'd have to go through, pretty much throwing out much of what we learn, if not all, in school and even at the PhD level. And it's just so deep. Okay, not to interrupt, but just
I have to say, and this is something that I've been talking about more now that I'm going into teaching a Starseed course, is these energies, these celestial energies, their intelligences that are super advanced. Yeah. So that's what happens is when you tune into this, when you bring this into your life, when you open your heart up to this, whether you're doing it through attunement activation sprays or whether you're just getting the downloads, direct download, it's accelerating your intellect. So
Yes.
it's accelerating your consciousness field. It's expanding, so you're able to actually bring in more knowledge. That's what it's designed to do. I feel like it's something that's really overlooked, and people a lot of times don't really get that point of it because maybe they're not there yet, maybe they're not ready. But it is meant to advance your intellect because it is meant to bring forward future technology. It is meant to bring forward spiritual future technology that is to evolve the spiritual planetary ascension processes here. Each one of these origins in which these activators are attuned to are a part of the guardian systems or guardian nations, which are the origins or the celestial bodies or the intelligence fields, whatever you want to call them, ETs, extraterrestrials, ultra terrestrials, that took covenants, they actually took contracts to evolve the human being spirit here on this earth, whether they did that through seeding, through civilizational emergences. As you know, the Pleiadians, they came in and integrated the fourth dimensional spiritual light body of the human being in the Lemurian timeline.
God, I could just cry, because they were my first ones that I awoke to in this planet through the channeling of Barbara Marciniak and others. And I know you have the Activator sprays. That was like my first easiest, like for a lot of people, the Pleiades is one of the more easy ones to access, remember, appreciate, hear from,
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I went into understanding an Andromedan connection. And now that's where I am. And I had been given a name by these two channelers in Mount Shasta that I was from there, and that my name in Andromeda is Ajandra Terra Nova. This is years ago, before the concept of the new earth even was born in my mind. Ajandra Terra Nova. And so I love that. And they're like, that's the nearest that we can pronounce it. Okay. Because, these languages in other dimensions are, and just
I'm seeing you now. I'm getting like a vision of you on Tara. Wow. Okay, so I'm like seeing you between like 5 million years ago on an actual 7th dimensional Earth.
And Marguerite, she ages well. All right, she ages well, and
and what you're saying about this intellect business, and this is important, and especially for women, is that we are smart. And it doesn't matter whether you were school smart or whether you weren't school smart. This is Sophia. And I was just talking about this extensively in my 7 Mysteries of Magdalene course. She is a manifestation of Sophia, Mother Mary is, and we all are. And that Sophia wisdom is like the keenest freaking intelligence ever. And it's embodied and it's in the womb. So that's what you're talking about here.
And it also comes from particular star systems as well. There are actual systems that seeded the Sophianic templating here. One of them being Andromeda, one of them being Cassiopeia, and one of them also being the Hydra system as well. So incarnates from those systems actually have direct missions to essentially rectify and resolve and dissolve the contention and the demonization of the feminine on this earth. Like that's what they came here to do. So they usually came in with the hardest traumas around motherhood, the connection with the mother. A lot of time that's severed for these types that come in because they come in with this tumultuous Black Madonna templating.
Yes. My mother was ill from the time I was born, and she died when I was 10. So it's that separation. And I know that a lot of people are going to be like resonating with this, that mother disconnection, whatever way it is. And that's like global, right? Really. So much of us have mother disconnection in one way or another.
Oh, absolutely. The number one ancestral blockage, and it's interesting, I see this with client work that I do. People are like, I want to connect my ancestors, ancestral work, this, and that. But, the number one ancestral blockage is right in the immediate lineup. So your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-grandmother, grandfather, that's the immediate blockage that usually severs the ancestral cord. And it's really overlooked, but it's the number one trauma globally. Like you said, parental grooming into our generational curses and karma is the number one degradational aspect in terms of what limits us here. It's deep. It's really deep.
Gets my goat in such a big way because, in working with you and Z Earth Star, back in the fall, at the same time as Z was talking about this, I started getting this message, human life was not meant to be troublesome, difficult, that's just the way it is. And all these things are just natural. That's life. No, these were all calculated, ongoing traumas that have been going on year after year, decade after decade, century after century, millennium after millennium. And we are putting a stop to it now by all of this information that we're bringing through and how we are working with our body, mind, spirits to, adjust our DNA back into the divine template, which is what Jesus was talking about in these Gnostic sources. He's like, look, the light is within you. Yes, you're dealing with negative forces all around. He was saying this 2,000 years ago, okay, in the middle of the Roman Empire, which is another whole lizard people story, right? And so,
Jesus was definitely a starseed. I mean, he definitely came here.
Say more about
I would say he came from Sirius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then let's look at this Syrian activator, what you've got in it. Why did you pick these scents? Because these are related to the fairies on the earth, the co-creating the new earth, the herbs that we're starting to work with. You've got in this essential oil of lime, eucalyptus, rosemary, and lavender, and you're working with lapis lazuli and turquoise crystals attuned to the Syrian stargate. So let's just use that as a jumping off point. Tell us about this, how you're doing this, because everything you say is opening up more information for everybody watching, how you're going to work with plants, scents, crystals, and your star origins.
Well, this one specifically, we could start with the symbol code on the front of it. There is a triskelion. And with the triangulation, right? But the triangle ultimately represents the Godhead. It represents the monadic structures, the spirit, body, and the soul. So right away, you're getting that activation with the light code symbol. The lapis lazuli aspect of it.
That's a symbol that is encoded into the island of Sicily. The Trinacria. The three rotating legs, and the center of the head is Medusa.
It's Medusa. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there we go. All right. Keep going.
This is why I love talking to you.
Yeah.
You're such an infinite mind. It's amazing. Lapis lazuli. Do you know that Michelangelo actually painted with lapis lazuli on the Sistine Chapel? Like the whole sky inside the Sistine Chapel is lapis lazuli. So there is definitely, even though Rome and the Vatican is not necessarily a place of positive energies, there's a lot of negative and nefarious forces there. But I do believe that when he was painting, that it was done through activated energies of, the Christos and the Sophia energies. So I do think that lapis lazuli, even going back to ancient times, North Africa, that was a crystal that was worked with in terms of the Melchizedek energy, which I think is very prevalent within the Syrian activator. I do find that the divine masculines that are carrying those codes really resonate with this one particularly. It is a very neutral scent, though. It is masculine and feminine, but ultimately the scents that were chosen and were channeled from this system were to give it an oceanic blend. I was shown that lime, eucalyptus, rosemary, and lavender created an oceanic clearing fragrance. And that really truly is the essence of Sirius. It is very aquatic and oceanic. And so that was kind of the driving principle behind this one specifically.
Excellent. And what I want to say here is that what you can do is you can get these oils and tune into the frequencies that you're vibing with, and then to empower people, you can use them. You can use them they can create their own, right? Like maybe you're inspired to unify lavender and myrrh, or, why would that be? We've talked about this in the 7 Mysteries of Magdalene course. And it's like, you then are creating and co-creating a new birthing, by putting those 2 oils together, taking the medicine, because you've been inspired, there's something in there for you with these plants, these plant combinations that is going to get you somewhere.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. I do believe that the anointing process with oils, with sacred oils, is the process to connecting us to our avatar body, which is connecting us to full 12-strand DNA activation, which activates the silicate matrix. And essentially, that's really the development processes to get to celestial ascension, to starseed consciousness. Oils themselves activate the higher chakras. So when you smell fragrance, you're going directly to the heart, and then to the throat, to the third eye, to the crown, and to the causal. So it immediately starts to expand us into and beyond the 7th dimensional body. And again, we were just talking about this before we get on, that we remember through scent. Scent is one of the most activating ways to get the memory flowing, to get the memory going, right? To get the cellular memory activated. When we lived on other planets and other star systems, we also had the ability to smell. Okay, and we had other senses as well. Here on Earth, in the 3rd dimensional field, they say we have 5 senses, we have 7 senses, but really the activated starseed has 12.
Wow. Can you describe them? And before we go there, somebody has a question. Are these ingredients true essential oils or fragrance oils?
They are organic essential oils.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So let's move into what you said. What are these 12 senses? And then let's go back to smell and how this relates to our star living when we were when we were in these dimensions or on these planets, okay. What are the 12?
Well, the higher senses are within your telepathic abilities. So you have actually like a breakdown within telepathy of those senses that extenuate into the auric body and also into the astral. And so it's hard to describe what those are, right? Because they are, within the higher mind wave fields of connection and communication, just like how me and you could sit here and probably just stare at each other for like 5 minutes, and we would get telepathic transmission. Your higher senses are within that telepathic transmitting abilities, basically. And
I wonder, what do you think about this? Is it related to claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience? Maybe the clairs are part of those senses.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely are. I have a list of them. I actually have a breakdown of it. I don't have it with me in front of me, but yeah, they've been kind of decoded before. But yeah, they definitely are within those clairs. And our ability to read telepathy and pick up on it, and also to read holographic information as well. That's, continues to be developed as you develop psychic depth perception. You have to develop psychic depth perception to be able to pick up on the additional psychic senses, basically.
Got it. So this is just getting us into more and more refining, almost like the chakras, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and beyond. What I've gotten is actually we have infinite chakras. Imagine that. Ultimately, we are one with the universe, and that would be infinite chakras. So, okay.
And celestial consciousness or starseed consciousness comes in once you connect with avatar consciousness, which is 12D. So celestial, what you're perceiving or picking up is between the 13th and the 22nd dimensional chakra system.
Holy cow.
That's where you go infinite or go into galactic spectrum, which is just quantum cognition, accelerated quantum cognition, where you're picking up at the subtlety body at like rapid higher particle field spin. So your field spins are going faster. Your ability to manifest and clear timelines, jump timelines, drop timelines, all of those things, right? Or accelerating just mastery, basically, and also
So
living on a new higher earth or new earth.
start smelling it. All right. And you'll have all of what Indy is talking about here.
All right. So yeah. So amazing. So like just with the scent and the medicines of each of these plant essences, we are starting to enter, right? If you go into a meditative state, you go into an aware state, you can go deeper, deeper, deeper. Tell us how the crystals get connected. And also, we're having very nice comments here that people have been working with oils for years. Kathy is saying adding crystals increases vibrational frequency of both, but I'll have you comment more, Indy. She's making healing blends. Athena is saying lime helps to clear the energetic and emotional sludge from our systems.
Yeah.
Love the idea to put it with lapis lazuli. So yeah, let's talk about the crystal connection here.
Yes, well, it definitely activates the oil. Crystal technology is one of the ways in which the star systems transmit and also connect here on a level of telepathy as well. So it draws in that principle or that quality into the oil. It's one of the ways that we attune the bottles as well. So each of these oils go through attunement processes. They're actually made in Black Hawk, Colorado. So high elevation, as they're going through that attunement process, that they're actually closer to the star system. So that way the crystal technology inside of the oils can attune more clearly with the star systems. And yeah, each one of these crystals also, I think, pertain to the particular civilizational essence and also the timelines in which these star systems came to seed the Earth in the race morphogenetic field. So even if you look at the Palladian one, it has Lemurian quartz. Okay, Lemurian quartz was the main crystal that was used and worked with in the Lemurian time. And again, Pleiades seeded the Lemurian soul body or the human spirit body. So it's just bringing everything into completion, into the full picture, into the full story. So you're really getting the essence of that through the crystals, through the scent. I also wanted to ask you, Marguerite, too, because I know that you were talking about the anointing that Mary Magdalene was an anointing priestess. And I didn't have a chance to have that discussion with you about how you've seen them. Yeah.
Yes, let's go into that. And my colleague, Sister Carmen Nash, gave a really lovely presentation on the oils of the Bible, myrrh, frankincense, spikenard, rose of Sharon, there's a whole big list. And so what's happening is, as we're going deeper into this understanding of scents and oils, we are understanding the esoterics of the whole thing and how these oils were also used not only just for scent, but for skin absorption. Because a lot of times these essences that were being put on and into the skin were mind opening, literally mind expanding. Okay. What we know from lots of different scholars, and especially most recently, Brian Murarescu in his really fascinating book, The Immortality Key, talks about how priestesses were the ones who were in charge, of all the elixirs that you drink, all these mind openings that were at the Eleusinian Mysteries. Probably the Last Supper and the wine was a mind-opening wine, which is why those people could see Jesus, after the resurrection and so forth. It's like, let's drink wine and say hi to Jesus. But Magdalene, there's the idea that she knew way more than we are understanding about her, that this could have been hallucinogenic to open up the mind, and that also the myrrh type that was put on the bodies of the dying and deceased was literally helping their souls move to the stars. And then it could be used in sexual context. So if you are anointing the phallus, be it a human phallus or a dildo, yes, they were using dildos in the ancient world, witness Isis. You could put it into the vagina and it would bypass the gastrointestinal, so the nausea factor, and you would fly on the broom. Okay, that was the whole witches thing. So these anointing oils go way, way back, and they they're an intimate part of opening the consciousness when the veils were getting thicker, using our plant allies to access again the information. So I think there were
it's almost if they're the mergers between the spirit and the body, that they're bringing those properties together. Yeah.
Completely. The molecules are sacred, and then they're going and locking in, puzzle piecing with your own divine molecules, and then you are accessing galactic consciousness. Yeah. So
very healing for the body, because I know going vaginally speaking, tea tree oil is very good for the vagina's health, right? Like it's very clearing. It's so interesting.
All right, people, you heard it here. So get your tea.
Get your tea tree oil. Right? We should make a divine feminine oil. We'll have. It's interesting, since I've done this, I have been getting so many oil ideas. People just coming and pouring this information to me. I've gotten recommended to do an ayahuasca oil.
Whoa. See, that's getting at it. And then maybe you don't have to puke,
Exactly.
Put it on your vagina and wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Let's think about that. And of course, these cannabis oils are getting at that, right? The CBD oils, the tinctures and all that. And some people have gone to the hospital because they didn't realize how much they were putting on their skin. They're like, I just thought it was an innocent thing. And it's like, well, actually there is some psychoactive in that cream that you've got going on. So, yeah, I think we are reclaiming ancient women's knowledge about how to use all these plants, be it smell, be it touch, be it taste, be it sight, all these different. And I'll just say, hot off the presses, Seven Sisters Mystery School, starting at the end of May, we are going to be launching our new Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy. And we're going to have our first journey with it. And we're going to be working with Blue Lotus, cacao, and cannabis. Yes. So we're going to have teaching modules, and we're going to have ceremonies online where people can safely learn how to use these, or go deeper, or reclaim them for the feminine. Okay. So, that I've been very inspired lately to do that with the plants. So, okay.
Very shamanic. I want to say, I even had a gal the other day come to me, and she said she went to Hawaii. She gathered up ash and volcanic, raw elements from Pele. Wow. Turned it into a tincture and an oil, and now she's anointing herself with Pele oil. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh,
and I'm going to do that with the redwoods. I had done that when I lived in California. I'm going to be there. And you can make a tincture or really an oil with the redwoods, and then get the medicine. And what I've received also, Indy, is that 90% more of this is your intention, right? Yes. So it's just a marker. All these things are just markers. Yes, they have chemical constituents that lock in with us, but it's your intention of what you're doing with this and how you're doing with it. And if you feel that this can be an opener, then it is. That's the co-creator divinities that we are at the highest level.
Yes.
So
definitely agree with that.
We have a comment here, a question. Any comment on fresh oregano?
That's for the Italians, the two Italians of you. All right? Oregano.
She's saying, Ahandra, deep, lucid trance and transfiguration rings a bell. What were these Italians eating with all their oregano?
I have a story with oregano. There's oregano oil. Isn't there an oregano oil?
Yes.
Yes. It is a way to actually expel pregnancy. I didn't know this, but yeah, I found that out, that if you apply oregano oil around the uterus, if you're trying to, and I don't want to give this out, but this is just something that I learned. It's actually dangerous in pregnancy. It can expel, it can detach the fetus from the lining of the uterus, and can actually Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Learned that the hard way. Learned that the hard way, just so you know. Yeah, with one of my pregnancies, I was using it.
My God. This is, of course, oregano, thyme, rue was another Italian witchy plant, and so forth. Yeah, I think they had multiple levels. Like if you do it this much, it does this thing. If you do it that much, it does the other thing. If you put it here, it does this. And if you put it there, oh my gosh, watch out. This is the knowledge that we're regaining, right?
Yeah, lost knowledge, right? When all of the books were burned in Alexandria, we lost all the knowledge to the books of Isis and probably Teen Hinan and these original ancient Atlantian goddesses that brought forth scripture for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's move into Tin Hinan a little bit as a jumping off point into the goddess that you've discovered in the cosmos. Okay. And somebody's asking about Blue Lotus. No, it's not incredibly expensive. Very, very affordable. And it's, I have a source in Thailand that's easy to access. So we'll be doing that in the plant medicine, Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy.
I really look forward to that, by the way. I'd love to join you with that. Yeah.
Oh, blessed be.
Sounds
God,
amazing. Sounds amazing.
In Oracle state together, this is about reclaiming it in safety and moving out of the stoner energy of what's been put on Lady Cannabis, among other things. So here we're moving into talking about, you're in my North African connection. This is for the Berber people. All right. The Berbers are like large groups of people that are also known as the Tuareg and so forth. There are tribes. This book, The Berbers, by Michael Brett and Elizabeth Fentress. Okay, get ready, people. Here and with honor, we show this on YouTube and with protection. This is Tin Hinan. This is her burial chamber. This would be in North Africa. And these are her bones. And this is a very tall ancestress considered of the Berbers of North Africa. And at this point, we're talking about Atlas Mountains, Atlas, Atlantis, etc., etc. So what have you been getting about Tin Hinan? Because by the way, I'm wearing a Tuareg made symbol onyx with their sacred symbols.
Oh my gosh, girl. Wow.
Stuff. Okay. And
we were meant to have this conversation then.
Okay.
I've done a lot of extensive research on Atlantis. If you go back and scour through some of my videos, I've remote viewed the Eye of Sahara, which I think, according to Plato's account, that it best fits the description for Atlantis, the Eye of Sahara in Mauritania, West Africa.
Wow.
It's very close to where Tin Hinan's burial was found. I mean, it was found in Algeria, I believe. Yeah. What I have found to be interesting now is if you look at it in terms of a grid worker perspective, the ley lines in the central 0 point field of the Earth, everyone says this is Giza, this is Egypt, but in fact, it actually runs through Algeria. Yeah, that would be the central 0 point field. There's a lot of history in Algeria that's yet to be discovered. It's very unknown. It's very untouched. And I think there's a reason for that it's actually protected. Yes. That there's treasures underneath those sands in Safar. Been looking into Safar. And
there are unbelievable cave, paintings, rock art paintings that show the region when there was water. Yeah. Okay. And they show Amazon battles, women fighting in pitched battle and
right.
And intergalactic beings that are there with like one eye, round heads, and different things like that. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think back in this time too, that the Sahara itself, I mean, they found whale bones in the sands of Sahara. If you are to go, I mean, because I was in the White Desert and the Black Desert, also White and Black Desert in Egypt, what's all over the sand? Seashells.
Right. So why is it there? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think all of that region was ultimately underwater. Even when I've remote viewed the land in the area, I see river formations underneath the water. I see diamond oceans up underneath the mantle. And so, yeah, I do believe that some form of cataclysm could have happened and knocked the continental shift or the disk in the area of the Eye of Sahara and could have, allowed that to create a passageway for that water to flow and create the ocean systems that we have today. But I do think that Atlantis was in the lands of Morocco, Algeria, West Africa, North Africa. That is, I personally believe that that's where it was. And Teen Hinan was supposedly a goddess and one of the only living surviving goddesses of Atlantis that escaped.
Wow, that's so deep. Oh my God, just think of that, like an ascended being.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And yeah,
and went on. She may be the mother. She may be the mother of the next root race even. She may have been, if she was the original goddess survivor of that. And the Tuareg people would have been kind of a beginning founding point for that. So it's really, this is deep. This is, I think it's uncharted territory, to be honest with you.
That's right. And the Berber men wear, the Tuareg men wear a face wrapping, and it's all in indigo color. And they call it the blue people. Okay.
Yes.
Right. And so, this is very deep history. I got very much into this in Ghana, and also in Niger. I looked into the Akan people of Ghana, their goddesses. There is so much there. I mean, it would be like another whole lifetime for me to, or anyone, for us to start looking into those areas, with respect. But there's local archaeology and cultural history. Then you go to these places, you can find books that we don't know about, and so forth. So let's bring this to what was discovered in Hawaii in 2014 about the galactic goddess.
Right. Yeah, I call her the immeasurable angel. I feel like she defines my IndigoAngel, and beyond that, so Laniakea, the Laniakea system, it's kind of the essence of our super colossal galaxies, multiverse. There's not even a word to define this. I'll be honest with you. When I tune into this energetically or psychically or whatever, it's so immense that I don't have words to even describe it. It's kind of like a tentacle. It looks almost like a tentacle or some living form of a stream of multi-cosmic galaxies, clusters, all streamlined together. It's kind of the heart center of everything that we are. What I've picked up on with this is that it is a representation of what we are beyond starseed consciousness. So going into the concept of maybe galaxy seeds, and that the star seeds in which we see in the sky, so these guardian nations and even the occult systems that we don't really know about so much, that they truly are also descendants or ambassadors from the Laniakea system.
Right. So Laniakea, Lania, Kai, no, how do you spell it? Kaia?
Oh, we want to spell it correctly, don't we?
Yeah, Laniakea. But this was literally an astrophysics discovery in Hawaii in 2014. Like they're looking up in all these galaxies and so forth, and they came upon this like mother node.
Yeah, it's Laniakea supercluster. And it's really a representation, I think, of 200 trillion light years of our galactic history.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And so everything, I mean, in the Milky Way galaxy is really at the tip of the tentacle. I mean, we're pretty far down there. So it's really interesting. I think it defines that it is immeasurable what we are. It's immeasurable, the amount of race incarnation or seed incarnation here that it truly cannot actually be defined yet,
Right.
so to speak. Yeah.
And this cluster, this existence, this reality, it seems to then have a location, right, in time space, and it feels feminine to me, right? This is a feminine name? They are conceiving this as like a mother node of all galaxies or something?
Well, the Laniakea is Hawaiian for open skies or immense heaven. And yeah, it was discovered in 2014 by particular astronomers in the University of Hawaii. And I think it's also been studied in Jerusalem as well. But I think a lot of what this is just really coming to the forefront for the first time. I mean, this information is very new. Yeah.
It feels like the cosmic womb to me. Like literally the cosmic origin, the womb. And, you know, Sri Kaleshwar, the Hindu saint, said that we really, all of reality is Divine Mother, which is a cosmic womb. Yeah. And so when we start, like, in a way, pointing to it in the skies, that's very, very interesting. So what are the implications of this for us today? This discovery? What else do you know about this? What do we take away? How does it relate to human history? Or, you know, what's the trajectory from this place to where we are here on Earth?
It's a really, really good question. As you say it, I'm trying to define it in my mind because it's hard to define. It definitely expands our infinite potential, that's for sure. Takes us into the unknown, allows us to see that there's more than what we think is there. In terms of what I've been defining is that, again, going back to starseed consciousness, is that this is a descendant process from the supercolossal systems. I myself consider myself to be a Hydra starseed ambassador. One of the major supercolossal clusters in the Laniakea system is a Hydra Centaurus supercolossal cluster. So we talk about that cosmic womb, right? And we talk about Hydra and this serpent knowledge.
This endlessly birthing, self-birthing, the Hydra, right? It's parthenogenetic. It self-births. You really can't kill it, except Heracles was able to do something with that. But yeah, okay. Yeah, keep going.
And yeah, it's just interesting. I think it's helping us to define quantum physics. And you know, it talks about Laniakea is not gravitationally bound. And so it's projected that it could actually also be torn apart by dark energy or by dark matter, essentially.
And that feels like a Tiamat kind of explosion type thing, which is that story that we hear in, you know, and that I think was in Earth history, the story that we hear in ancient Sumer, but those have holographic implications all the way up the hologram, right? So if it happens in one locale of it can happen everywhere. So perhaps the very universe itself was interfered with in this way. As you are thinking about that, I'm inviting comments, questions from everybody watching. Please write them in the chat. We are welcoming super chat donations you can click the icon with the currency, whatever your country's currency is. Those go to supporting Seven Sisters Mystery School administration. Subscribe to this channel, and share this video afterward. So we're looking here at Laniakea as like this central node, universal node, mother node of all existence, all reality, and that there's a descending process from her to our other dimensional realities, angelics and so forth, and where we are today. So
yes. And I just want to say, if you were to go to my website, IndigoAngel222.com, I've actually written about 3 blogs in 2020 about the Laniakea system.
Yeah.
Just helping to trying to define it, trying to interpret what it is and what this means, and you know, it's what it's been doing for me is it's been helping me also define other systems. It's really allowed me to take a deeper look even in the Andromedan system that just came up when we were talking about that today, but to see, you know, how connected our system is to Andromeda as well, that everything in our universe has ultimately come through collision events, and multiple collision events that have connected our core structures. So everything is infinitely connected. You know, the Milky Way is connected to Andromeda. Andromeda is connected to Laniakea. And that it's defining our contingency and our evolution here on just so many levels. Yeah.
Let's take a thread of that. But first I want to say, is this something you're going to be covering in your new course that's starting in next week? Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, so we're doing a Starseed expansion and advanced levels of consciousness course. I'm teaching it with Lightstar and Pink Bella Aloha. Both of them are on YouTube. And each day we're doing our own coursework day. But on my day, I'm teaching about advanced galactic cosmic history. So I'm going to be starting with Laniakea, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away about the Laniakea system because it's going to be for the course, but yeah, trying to break it down in a linear fashion, even though we all know it's not.
Right.
But kind of starting with Laniakea as the mother of it all, and then breaking down the descendant process here on this earth, and really where I think human life ultimately started to begin here on earth was about 150 million years ago.
Amazing. See what I mean, everybody? Like this whole new histories, new geological histories, new human histories.
Yeah. So, what's really interesting about this, I just want to say, is there's a lot of viral and parasitic information when you start to talk about this stuff, which I didn't realize how much I had channeled about this stuff years ago. So as I'm putting this course together, I'm looking at my old work and I'm going, my gosh, I brought all of the information forward years ago. I didn't even know what I was doing at that time. But it's really interesting. They say that even life may have evolved, like the womb itself was through a virus. It's called the synactin protein or synactin virus, basically, at about the 150 million point marker that came in and evolved the womb. And that about 10% of human DNA is viral. It's actually from viruses. And that, so it's a really, we're going to be breaking down a lot of these concepts. And a lot of it, I think, when we talk about the mother and why Venus even carries this quality, is Venus itself is very bacterial. Venus has, because it's warm, so there's this moisture, this ability to grow bacteria, grow viral mutations from that planet, basically. That a lot of this might play a part in the development of the human being. And so it's really interesting how all of that is, connected. But we're going to explore these concepts and topics in the course.
And so people go to register for your course, go to where?
You can go to learn.indigoangel222.com for that. And I can give you the links as well if you want to put them in the description for today, because I also have the landing page that we put together and prepared for all of this. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. Lightstar she's really cool. She speaks about 20 different light languages on hand. But she has like 125 she can pull down from the Akash. So she's going to be teaching a light language course. And Pink Bella Aloha is going to be teaching about Ascension mechanics, that 12 to 22 dimensional chakra system, and also about the blue ray spectrum as well, which I think is a very important topic for us to know about in terms of starseed consciousness, because the blue ray is ultimately what the planet's been warfaring over since Tara essentially has been over the blue flame. And even if you look at stargates on the Earth and what we're warring over in terms of reversal stargates like the Vatican, it's over the hijacking of the blue flame energy. So it's kind of, I think it's an imperative part of our cosmic starseed history to know about that. So they're going to be teaching on those things, and it's exciting. It's
wow. Thank you so much for doing this. And I mean, that the blue flame could be 12 dissertations right there, for us to cover.
It really truly could be.
There's
so much there with that.
Yeah, she's saying in 2020 she received a transmission of interconnection of Pleiades, Andromeda, and Pegasus. Yep. And then Zoe from Ireland is saying, hello, beautiful, amazing ladies.
Zoe.
Hey, Zoe. This interference destruction of the serpent energy, is such a part of our Irish mythology also, and what we are all healing globally right now. So let's talk about this, because I want to share something that I've done a number of times, and you've kind of gotten to it in some of your videos, and I wonder if we have actually talked about this, but I had received, and I think this is a key piece, a number of years ago, all of a sudden I'm sitting at my desk and wow, this downpour comes in that at the fall, there were angelics that decided to go rogue with their creator capabilities, and they created a split in the dragons. Okay, so they were very much connected to the dragon energies. They created a split in the dragons, and part of it went into reptilian. They were like, let's try this out. Let's create reptilian negative. And then part of it stayed either dragon or was in like the positive serpent type of energy, thus creating a split and a whole huge confusion in the entire reality, where beings were not sure from there on who was positive and who was negative. And then the serpent positive dragon energy started getting defined as negative reptilian. And the negative reptilians loved to play on that. They're like, yeah, kill all the serpents, kill all the dragons. And there's been this great confusion ever since, where it's like the serpent is evil. And we have got to get straight on that this was a splitting in order to go backward in time and understand what it is that we need to do, who we need to say hello to and restore, and who it is that we need to, release from this domain. Let's have you talk about that, because I know you've talked about lizard people, history, and so forth. Does that resonate for you, first of all?
Yes, and I'm so happy you brought that up. I'm so happy that you make that connection, and you can distinguish that. A lot of people, I think it's a mystery for a lot of people. It's like I don't understand it, right? I think that's exactly what happened. I think that the dragon body was what was Tiamat intact, essentially, in her wholeness. And that the planetary invasions or the planetary warfare, celestial warfare that took place and imploded Tiamat's original templating, which was the original flower of life structures. Like that's what it was.
Her template, that original flower of life, is basically a single image, a single lotus or a single rose that has like 12 petals that are all like, it's not the fractalized flower of life, which unfortunately is, this thing here.
Yes, right. Well, actually, I think it's a hexagon. I think it's a honeycomb. So I think the beehive is like a representation of it, to be honest with you, because it has the 6 sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was this warfare, there was this literally blowing apart of the body of this Tiamat female dragon, which really essentially is Sophia in another way of looking at it, right? These cosmic primordial dragons.
Yes.
And the use of this DNA to create negative beings that just create disharmony and misery throughout the entire reality. And that's what we're dealing with now.
I do think the dragons go back to Tara. I think Tara existed before Tiamat. And I do think that there was a dragon templating in that time as well. But coming into pre-Earth, I think Tiamat would be the representation of it. But then there was the implosion from Meldeck, which is where this reptilian... See, everything is hybridized. Everything is connected to everything else.
I know, this is the thing. And the thing is, what I got is that there's even karma now between the reptilians and the dragons because of this DNA connection. So the dragons can never be free, you know, until this healing of some kind happens with those we are. Just like when people are abducted and their material is used, you've got karma with these gray aliens or whatever now, you know. It's like, what, you know, and it goes on and on and on and on. So we've got to reverse this spiral upward to just get this clearing and this healing and the unification of what needs to be unified. The forgiveness.
Well, I think it's difficult because the dragon's body parts have been dismembered. So they've been broken up into parts and they're scattered all over the earth.
Talk about that. How can we all help with that?
Good question. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'll be honest with you. I have been starting to note that I do think it has to do with water bodies and displacement of water.
Okay.
That I've been seeing dragon parts in places like the Great Lakes or Lake Titicaca or the massive lake system that's in Africa and Ethiopia. That has something to do with the fresh water.
Yeah.
But I've yet to really decode it fully, where and how the body parts are broken up. But again, there's so much hijacking around this, right? Even the piece that I did on Medusa, I mean, even Medusa's story plays into this. And I think it also has to do with Rome and these particular timelines through periods in time where we've had great dismemberment of body parts in terms of decapitation, lost parts of our memory that have gone into reincarnation cycles as well. So the reincarnation harvesting cycle has something to do with it, with the displacement of body parts. Also disallowing souls to fully experience proper death processes as well. I think that what's going on when we like embalm the bodies and we don't actually put them back into the earth.
My God, it's the total reversal of the myrrh embalming. They put in this artificial serum, whatever they do, and like hermetically seal it down in the earth. And then our dead are left like that.
Yeah. And this breaks the natural cycles of information that has to go back into the earth because we're all part of her. Like there's this great, we hold information in our bones. We hold the race morphogenetic templating in our bones. So when that's not being decomposed properly, that information's not recycling back to the earth's race morphogenetic field.
You know, and here's another thing that I just got as we're talking. That whole North Africa area that's now the Sahara, what I get is they bomb the heck out of it to get rid of a water. Oh, it was the Chot El Djerid. It was the lake that was there, the Chot El Djerid. And I went over there. I went over there to look for that thing. And it's a much desiccated kind of location, but it used to be like 900 miles wide, according to the ancient writers. So I think they did away with something there, right in this Tin Hinan, Tuareg Berber area that we're talking about, you know, Algeria, that has treasures underneath it. Also wanting to just acknowledge some people who are in Athena Psi, beautiful sacred sister, Dawn Del Vecchio. Thank you, Marguerite, about this vision of the splitting of the lizard people from the dragons. I've been getting the same info as the dragon mothers and water nagas have come into my life. Okay, she was just in Thailand doing a lot of work there. A lot of agreement. Whoa, I'm in Michigan, Nicholas, surrounded by the Great Lakes. We have rivers and bodies of water everywhere. Want to help and work with dragons. And then Kathy is saying soul retrieval type to bring parts together. I know this has been part of the Guardian mission. Lisa Renee behind the scenes has been active, and every month she's like, Guardian mission just did X, Y, Z. And it's like, you know, hilarious.
Oh yeah,
so here we go with the Nagas. Dawn. In Buddhist Southeast Asia, the Nagas, which I know you know so well, Indy, water serpent beings are very deeply honored. And we are remembering these earth protector beings. There are some shamans and sacred women who are working with them directly. I know that, you know, Dawn was in touch with some of those people. So let's have a talk about all this. What's coming?
Well, yeah, it definitely has to do with the serpent cults. Even when I was in Rome, you know, I was in the Gardens of Tivoli, and in there, where they have the superimposed fleur-de-lis implants that they keep with their Vestal Virgins, right? Wow. They had images and statues of the serpent mother goddess with multiple breasts. She had like, you know, 50 breasts, and it was like a water infiltration system that they were utilizing and symbolizing through that, which is really interesting, right?
Right.
It has everything to do with our soul fragmentation over the last 6,000 years of removing the serpent wisdom. If we go back to the motherlands of Mu and the original Nakal people, which were the people of that time, their creation stories, their creation tablets were that they worshipped a multi-headed cosmic serpent, that was their god. The research I've done around that, I've talked about this a lot because I can't get it out of my mind because it's that important. I feel that it has to do with the tectonic plates, and that they were worshiping the mother Earth's body of slowing the skin through tectonic plate reabsorption. So that's what they were picking up on through their creation, and that's what they worship basically, was this regenerative process. That because of that regenerative process, the identity of Mother Earth is serpent. It is serpent. So it's really going back to just worshiping the planet, worshiping the mother, right? Worshiping the earth. But that knowledge was ultimately taken, descended down through Lemuria, through the serpent cults in the southern tip of India, Australia, Madagascar. And a lot of that knowledge and wisdom was then, you know, taken and flipped basically through great reversals that happened. And so biblically speaking, everything that you see in terms of the Bible, when it comes to Genesis and the Garden of Eden and the serpent being labeled as, you know, satanic, basically, that was actually the point in which everything was, I don't want to say irreversibly hijacked, but there was the great global deception that basically overtook humanity. But yeah, so it's really that they were able to take our progenitor knowledge from us. And again, that comes through great hijacking of the magnetic field, that the ones who the beings who won the last wars were not human. Okay. And everything was written from that perspective of non-human entities. And so, yeah, of course, bringing us back to this great enslavement system, but it's that I think the dismemberment has the serpent knowledge being removed is at the core of it. So being able to restore that is, I think, will help rectify those records, basically.
Yeah, the positive serpent. And we have some comments. Athena is saying, I had a meditation experience where I reconnected to the Medusa of the East, which was in the cave of Thailand. Very interesting, because our sister Dawn might have some things to say or connect with about that. And then Aes Sedai says, I think it might be important to note that there's a difference between the physical dragons that you can come across on the earth and the great dragon deities that assist humanity. Okay, right? So they're holographic representations of one another, more kind of in a way actualized into 3 dimensions, perhaps, these earth dragons. Do you want to speak about that?
Well, don't you think it's just so interesting how serpent and dragon are really kind of one and the same?
Yeah.
They both descended from these seraphim lines, so the original burning ones.
That's
which
really...
I wonder if they were here before the Elohai or the Elohim.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like the serpent and dragon energies are here before anything that's sort of anthropomorphically humanoid.
Because when we go into parthenogenesis and you look at the species on Earth that are parthenogenically creating, like, didn't it start with serpents? Didn't it start with...
Yeah, absolutely. It did. And the ones that come up again as being parthenogenetic are like this gecko lizard, or, you know, these different kind of reptilian things, or dragon and, you know, whatever type things, are the ones where I get the articles coming to me. Oh, snakes just parthenogenetically, blah, blah, blah. Or sharks, you know, or another one, or these specific types of lizards. So yeah, it's almost like they're more connected to the original format of creation to begin with, which was like a self-creation. It was just a coming out before the sexes split.
And we think about why reptilians are so demonized anyways. You know, if we had this deep conversation about reptilians and reptoids, and I mean, we're going to get into some controversy, Marguerite. You know we are. They're going to be coming for us with the pitchforks probably. Yeah. But there's contention. What has the most contention, what is demonized the most, is because there's history, there's truth. When we think about the Draco system, some of the things I've come to see, I mean, I can barely even talk about Draco with some people. I mean, immediately a wall goes up. Like, we are not going Draco. Right. There is so much infinite and mass amount of wealth and beauty in the Draco system, celestial speaking. So if you just look at it from a place of omniism and just pure neutrality, you'll see that it contains some of the greatest wealth in our cosmos. The Cat's Eye Nebula. The Cat's Eye Nebula, astrologically speaking, is directly in alignment with the Sphinx. So if you like laid out these astrological maps and actually did coordinates on these things, I've always honestly believed that the Draco system brought the Sphinx here, and that the feline system and the origination of the feline origin truly came from Draco. And if we talk about the Lyran Wars and how the feline energy got in Lyra in the first place, I think Draco's brought it there.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. It's deep.
So, you know, here's the thing, duality. And so, like, we're talking a little bit about Orion, right? Because I'm like, this is the oil that's way in the corner for me. Orion, I'm like, but there's positive and negative everywhere because we're in duality, right? Yeah. And even within these systems of what we would consider the negative reptilians or whatever, there's positive and negative, right? So it just takes so much discernment all the way along the line. And I mean, what is our goal here? How do we really heal this? Okay, we have forces that are creating a lot of suffering. They have since the fall. And that leads to the traumas that we've had in our lives, the illnesses, the suffering, the, you know, sexual predation and all of that. So what is the node of power here? Let's have you talk about that.
Well, I think that's it. That we fail to see that the warfare it's over power. I mean, there's a book that I've been reading called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. My gosh, this book is just mind-blowing. I'll tell you what. Really gets into uncovering the psychological psychosis of humanity. Yeah. And what we all deny, which is within every single interaction between every single human being on Earth, that there's a continuous power dynamic game that plays out between all people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And this is like our torment. And it feels like this is a legacy of those energies from the fallen angelics created. And so, you know, what we're doing here, and I know that in the Magdalene course, looking at the Gnostic Gospels, Jesus and Magdalene and Mother Mary, they were all into this. They understood it way back. And so their answer is the fullness of the pleroma, the Christ Sophia energy, which is at the central core of all reality, is, guess what, within you. And they're like, Jesus says in the Gospel of Philip, if you really access that and make that light bright, you become invisible to these other forces. Okay. So I think that's ultimately, you know, where we're going. And that's why the interdimensional domain work is as.
Oh, I lost Marguerite and I'm still on her live. Hello, everyone. I cannot see the comments or the chats on the other side. Hopefully this video is still going, but I will give her a second to come back. There you are. Okay.
That sometimes happens when I'm looking at the comments and everything, and it's usually at like the critical moment. So this inner working is what's important, as important as understanding these histories. It's a both and kind of process. Mm-hmm. Has to be balanced, because I think that the answer to dealing with these wrenching, hostile, negative, painful forces that we're calling lizard people or whatever we're calling is somehow in this. It's somehow in getting at the jet stream, above it, below it, within it, that doesn't activate it anymore, lets it be. But we get into a whole new reality and domain. And I think that's what the new earth is getting to this inner place of the Lemuria, of the Mu vibration, right? Would you say?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's for each one's responsibility here on this earth to take Ascension seriously. Right. To get those codes, to evolve the soul and the spirit body and the light body, and reconstruct and rehabilitate their DNA and the structures of their light body field. That's what we came to do. But again, it's so clouded and infiltrated through distraction and parasitic energy, the parasites, the old dark ones, basically, that it's is, you know, there to try to prevent people from doing this. But this is what it is ultimately about. This is what we did come to do.
Yeah.
Is
because,
to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it happens even like getting mad at somebody who cut you off on the street, or, you know, a telemarketer, or somebody who's, you know, with Verizon and you don't like the service they're giving you, or this is a whole runaround, from all the way to how you're relating to your children, your partners, your friends, your colleagues. I mean, strife energies are everywhere, and they just are used as missiles to hook us and get this strife, warfare going on between us, you know, boyfriends, hello. Right. Hello. And all of a sudden it starts blowing up and looking like this, that, and the other thing. And oh, that person's evil. No, that person's evil, you know. And it's like, wow, what we really need to do is pull back and go, how am I getting played by these forces, right? How do I get back to my Christ Sophia light and understand, okay, I've got wounds, that person's got wounds. Come back to loving neutrality. You know, it just feels like there's something in that process.
Well, we haven't been taught how to do this, have we? We fumble and fall back through life backwards, and falling through the inversions, basically, until we can identify that in the first place. And then we have to unlearn everything that we learned because it wasn't benefiting the evolution of our soul and our intuition and our higher self. And that's why it's such a difficult process, is because we are a lot of times we have to learn this on our own. You know, like, again, going back to Mu and Lemuria, I mean, this was done in tribal support. This was done in unity. This was done in groups. This was done through our grandmothers, and our mothers taught us these things. Yeah. We came in blind. We came in with parental grooming tags to the inversions. How are we supposed to do that? You know, so it's a difficult process, and ascension is not easy. But it is the righteous path, and it's not impossible. But we do have to learn how to overcome the limitations of our human being. Yeah, and that's a hard thing, but it's noble, and it's rooted in our integrity and our morality, which is what the Andromedans have come to assist us with. Believe it or not, these celestial bodies, these star seeds, they're here to help us with this. They really are.
I believe it. I love those Andromedans. Can you just say a little bit more about the Andromedans, and then we will start wrapping up here and say a little bit more about your course and everything?
Yeah, sure. The Andromedans. Well, we're on a contingency path to connect with Andromeda in the future. So this may be our future. I think that they brought forward the integral covenants of humanity. When you look at the 10 Commandments, even biblically speaking, that I think they even had a hand in some of those things. They did come to evolve the morality of mankind. So they are rooted in Mu. They're rooted in Lemuria. They were one of the original progenitors, and they do support the divine Sophia. They are the divine Sophia themselves. They are the mother sister galaxy to us. So yeah, they are infinitely influential here, because they hold the ascended structures. So we hold the duality here in the Milky Way, but they hold the Christic spiral. There is no duality in Andromeda.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. It's amazing.
That is really something. I mean, that is such a beautiful way to describe them. I've never heard that. And I think that's food for thought for a lot of us to start meditating on these star systems. You know, do you have one in particular that you've heard of that you're curious about? If it's Andromeda, go meditate with what Indy said, and meditate, you know, with her oil.
Very third eye activating this one. Third eye.
Okay. Well, that's what we need, you know, that great seeing. We have final comment here. Earth sign. I don't get a good feeling about ancient Egypt. So many secret societies, masons and monarchies revere their practices and symbols. So yeah, you know, everything's a mixed bag is the bottom line of that.
But your job as a starseed is to extract the purity in it.
That's right. What is good for the walls of a mentee? What, you know, and that is your job, to go into the dark and the light and be like, ooh, yes, no, yes, no. Okay. So yeah, it's your right to discern. Okay. And then, okay, finally, Athena, I have memories of the Andromeda system also protecting the divine children of Mu Lemuria. They took them to safety in their system. These seeded children are coming back as diamond star seeds. That makes sense to me. So it seems that the plot is thickening here as Andromeda, and why you would have connections, Indy, why I would, why we are both connected to divine birth concepts, and also the reclamation and the healing. And
she's really spot on with that, because I do believe the diamond children are the future children of the seventh root race. So great. Yeah.
So there's another answer for us in we are all honoring and amplifying our own Christic Sophia light bodies, and we are conceiving higher vibrational children. these diamond children brought from Andromeda. So that's something to put your meditation on when you're in intimate relations with your partner, or when you are reactivating divine birth codes. Anything else on that, or any final things you'd like to say, Indy, about what we've been talking about, your course, your oils?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show today. It's always such an amazing conversation when I get to talk with you, Marguerite. I literally look forward to it. And yeah, so thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for everyone watching. I'd love to have anyone join me for the Starseed course. It's going to be very expansive. It's a cosmic transformational event. I do have a coupon code, so you can get $44 off of the course. It's Starseeds, all lowercase, Starseeds 44. We just put that one out for the weekend. So, and you can find us at learn.indigoangel222.com, and everything's going to be on replays and downloads. You know how we do the coursework, which in the future, Marguerite, I'd love to do a course with you again sometime. I think it would be.
Oh my gosh, are you
kidding? It would be amazing.
Only say the word, sister. Yeah, that would be really great, to link in the cosmic and the deep internal, right? I think that could be a good course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much. Blessings to you on this course with your two beautiful priestess colleagues as well who are doing it. And I highly recommend these oils as one way, these Starseed Activator. We have a link on our Seven Sisters Mystery School website as well under our store. So you can go there and find that and support both Indy and Seven Sisters Mystery School. Indigo, thank you so much for being here today, for your time, for all that you are doing to help us galactivate and to move us into the future rung of our spiral of reclaiming our knowledge. So with that, we'll say goodbye. We will hope to catch everybody a month from now, April 28th. I will be serving as the oracle for the Fae realm in cannabis ceremony to open up to what these great beings so deeply connected with us and our earth are saying. So if you would like to have fun and bring questions and see what my oracle is doing, come back here and you can be notified, hit the notifications button and once you subscribe. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And we will sign off for now. Mwah. Lots of love.
Take care. Namaste.